Kathy and I are experimenting with a new platform, and we're hoping that people will appreciate this, and that you'll share it with other folks. So thank you for joining. Thanks for watching, listening today to this episode. I've got a special guest with me today, Darrin Geisinger. Darrin, welcome.
Hi, Pastor Mike. Thanks for having me on. It's great to be on the show with you.
Yes, well, I appreciate you, Darrin. Let me just say this, folks. And we said we weren't going to go here, but I want to go here, and then we're going to jump someplace else. Darrin he's in the process of designing a book cover for me, and I got to tell you something. It knocked my socks off when I saw it. It was just a brilliant depiction of the picture I had in my mind, and fantastic. And we'll talk about that later. What we want to talk about, though, is Raising Up the Remnant Conference. Raising Up the Remnant Conference. And folks, you can go to their website. It's raisinguptheremnant.com. Raising Up the Remnant. There you go. Thank you, Kathy. Raisinguptheremnant.com. Now, Darrin, this conference is December the 26th through the 29th. So, folks, it's coming up very, very soon. Still got
very, very soon.
So, tell us a little bit about the conference, Darrin, why you're doing it, and then maybe give us a sketch of your speakers.
Yes, I can do that. So, yeah, with the schedule as it is, why do we need another conference? So, my wife, Nikki, and I, we're the coordinators for the True Legends Conference in Branson, Missouri, that happens every year with Steve Quayle. And we could talk about that a little bit, because we are going to have a True Legends 2020. And we really enjoy doing it. It's fantastic. The subject matter is always intriguing and informative. But we did notice that there was all this constant information, and a lot of folks actually even told us, well, what do we do now? This is a lot of great information, but there's not a lot of practical rubber meets the road. What do we do now? And so when this opportunity came up to create a conference, an event, my wife, Nikki, and I jumped on it as ours. So we're putting this on. This was our conference, and we can kind of make it what we want. And what we felt the Father calling us to do was really two parts. I guess that's why there's like two wings on the logo here. One wing is spiritual preparedness. And that's why we're having Dr. Michael Lake and a few other speakers that we'll get into in a moment. I mean, certainly everybody knows Michael Lake can get you spiritually prepared. And information that he provides, and then his two books, which rocked my world, he's going to be there and equip the last days remnants for what's coming ahead spiritually. But also another dynamic of the other wing of the logo is some practical, how do you get out of Babylon practically? Mm-hmm. So what do you need to give up perhaps, or what lifestyle changes might you want to consider if things are going to start to get very dark, and we know they're going to start to get very dark. So essentially, let's just boil it right down to get out of the city. To be honest, if you're in the city, any kind of city, I would get out as quickly as possible. But beyond that, I don't want it to start to sound like prepping is a part of raising up the remnant. In fact, I think I'd like to do away with that word prepping. In fact, I moved to responsible planning for a while, and even that didn't seem right, because I think there's a major flaw in the prepping attitude, which is kind of keep your current lifestyle, stay in the city or the suburbs or something, and then kind of build up a bunker and a whole bunch of canned goods. It didn't work for Y2K. I think it really ends up making people confused in a number of ways. My wife and I, we went from Cleveland, Ohio, to having a postage stamp of a yard, to now, just in the last 2 years, we moved to Southwest Missouri, and we have a 50-acre homestead. And you don't need 50 acres, so don't let me scare you there. But if we can do this, anybody can. I mean, we're about to have our first calf from our potential milk cow. So any moment she's going to give birth, and we're going to be like milking. Well, how do you do that? If people out there saying, well, I could never do that. Well, honestly, all you get is you get a boy cow and a girl cow, and you put them together. And a while after that, you start to get milk. It's literally, yes, it can be scary, but we're doing it. And so part of raising up the remnant is it's warnings about 5G, what's coming. It's warnings about the technology and transhumanism and stuff like that. But what do you do if you are concerned about those things? Well, I would get a couple acres. I would get some chickens. I would start growing your own food, get away from GMOs. I would start using stocking essential oils. I can't believe the things essential oils can do. So really half of raising up the remnant is get less addicted and reliant on big ag, big pharma, big box store especially, and start growing your own things. And the key point, and then I'll turn it back over to you, is it's not prepping, because it's what you should do even if things never ever crash and go bad. I watch my kids, learning how to hunt, fish, grow seeds, and taking care of the sheep and the animals on our homestead. And it's like, this is homeschooling. If you're not homeschooling, that's one of the practical steps you need to do. So homeschooling, so raising up the remnant is all about these things. I think you're catching the vibe. So it's spiritual preparedness and lifestyle considerations that are just better choices regardless of where things are going. And honestly, we know where things are going. So they're good now, and they may be necessary in the near future.
That's right. That's right. Darrin, I'm listening to you describe all of this, and I'm saying, this sounds a lot like escaping the matrix. This sounds a lot like having your eyes open to the reality around you that people are just sleepwalking through because they think things will never change. It'll always continue on. And I find that very ironic, Darrin, given the geopolitical things that are happening, the climate things, the earthquakes and the droughts and the famines and the pestilence and all of these things that the scriptures tell us will come upon the earth and the people of the earth. I find that interesting that people think the most important thing in life is that I have the latest iPhone, or that I have the latest technology, or the newest car, or whatever's in style as far as clothing. But what you just described, not just spiritual preparedness, which folks, Darrin, let's just explore that for a couple of minutes. Spiritual preparedness. In America today, would you agree, Darrin, that the church has dropped the ball as far as teaching people what the Word of God actually says? We look at the culture and we say, well, they don't know anything about the scriptures, but might I challenge folks to consider this? There are many people sitting in churches week after week after week after week. They're just as biblically illiterate as their coworkers that don't attend church at all. How important, Darrin, in your opinion, is it that people, when you talk about spiritual preparedness, we need to understand what the Word of God actually says, and then next step, and this is perhaps the most important, we need to take action based on that understanding. What do you think?
Well, I agree completely. Where to add into it, it's hard to imagine where to add into it, because they've inherited lies, and what they're being taught and getting ready to lead churches is lies. And so they have positions to uphold, that they're in denominations that if they go against, let's just say someone presents them with the truth that Genesis 6 is, obviously we know what Genesis 6 about. It's not the Sethite theory, but if they are considering that they learned that in seminary and they know that's not true, well, they can't go against that because they're going to lose their position. So there's problems with that. There's problems with huge mortgages and huge buildings and businesses and keeping these people happy instead of speaking the truth. So there you go. I mean, that's why you and Mike Lake and several other people that I really respect, put these truths out there in your broadcast, put these truths out there in your book, and you've decided to accept the consequences. You're going to teach the truth, and that's what people need to hear. That's what real love is. Lying to people is only keeping them happy, and so they can go home, Sunday at 1:00 in the afternoon and go watch their football or whatever, and it's really not love because they're staying deluded in a cloud of illusion. And that when the hammer drops, I believe it's Ezekiel says that, preached peace when there was no peace, and you built walls with untempered mortar. In other words, when the trouble comes, those walls are just going to crumble down, and these sheep are going to be looking around for their shepherd. And well, we know how that's going to go, Mike.
That's exactly right, Darrin. You mentioned a couple of things, and I just imagine as soon as you said that, I mean, I understand, I know, I explain it to people, but that I believe there's a critical mass of people, an overwhelming majority of people in America, they don't understand what the issue is with 5G. If you'd bring up transhumanism there, and they'd say, trans what? What is that? And even if you would explain it to them, I don't know that too many people would connect the dots and see the real issue and the threat that this really, it's a pseudo theology, in my opinion, transhumanism.
Mm-hmm.
Pseudo theology. They don't understand why they should care about that. Besides that, my favorite program's on TV tonight, so I need to pay attention to that. And of course, folks, I'm being sarcastic, but that's the point. People don't get it. So raising up the remnant is one effort that's aimed to correct some of this, to reach the people that can be reached, to reach those that the Father is calling. Because, folks, I think people have they just have a sense that something's not right. Now, they might not be able to explain it in great detail, but they look around at everything going on, and we can just focus right here in America. Look at the and I don't want to be too harsh, but look at the train wreck that is Washington, D.C.
I don't pay any attention to it. People tell me what's going on there. I mean, we don't have TV where I'm at in the middle of nowhere, and I'm in the middle of nowhere, believe me. So people have to say, oh, this person's saying that, or there's impeachment trials going on. I'm like, are you kidding me? That's the illusion, to give the other side something to focus on because they hate that side until the side switches, and then they'll do something where that, are you really falling for that? And that's all I say, and I'm too busy to pay any more attention to it than that. But I think you bring up some great points that show why raising up the remnant is a good thing, because you're talking about the spiritual preparedness and the warnings, the information, say what transhumanism, why should it affect us? Well, right now you can buy a gene altering kit on Amazon.com for $175, and people are starting to hack into their own genes. This is happening right now. This isn't in a movie. Why does that affect you? Wow. Because at some point, I believe genetic alteration is going to be lead into the beast system, if not the mark of the beast that makes you unsavable. Could be chips, could be the financial system to exclude you from the system. But all flesh became corrupt in the days of Noah, and Jesus Christ said that as in the days of Noah, so will it be when the Son of Man returns. So I believe that the lie in the garden is going to come back. You'll surely not die, and it could have to do with your genes. Once you're not purely human anymore, Christ was pure human and pure God to die for pure humans. So suddenly you've taken the bowl of stew. Honestly, you've been Esau, and you, on your hour of need, you've said, what good is it? What is good is my inheritance if I die? Give me this right now. Give me. And then all of a sudden you've cashed in your authority, your inheritance from God. This is very complicated. But I think it's an important thing to think about, why genetics and the gift that God has given us as our pure creation is extremely important. Now, you just offer that information to someone. It's all very scary stuff. In fact, we could go into 5 other subjects right now. Very scary stuff for us and the next couple of generations. So raising up the remnant starts to say, well, if you're getting on a couple acres of yourself and you're starting to turn this off and turn that off, and you're learning how to hunt, fish, and grow your own, and get off prescription meds and a whole bunch of these other things, then it's the horse going before it's the lifestyle change. And by the way, back here, the cart is actually having an escape hatch to freedom should things get bad. But let's not put the cart before the horse, because that's prepping, and that, I think, that is a serious mistake. So anyway, that's, again, I'm just trying to tie it back into, that's why there's 2 wings on the logo. That's why it's not only spiritual preparedness and looking at the information, because we have to know certain things, but then we just don't, there's an information, Jamie Walden and I have, if people know Jamie Walden, we had a fantastic phone conversation not that long ago where he railed against today's information addiction. And it's, give me the next thing. Give me, and in a way, book, podcast, those are the next thing, right? We're talking right now. We're informing people. And it's good to get these things out. I'm glad people are listening to us right now, Mike. Fantastic. But,
Yep.
There's just this cycle of like, give me the next podcast, give me the next book. And meanwhile, you'd like the scriptures say, you don't want to read the words like in a mirror and walk away and forget what you look like. You've got to put them into action. So we're really going to be encouraging people that, hey, if we can make some of these decisions, let's do them together. Let's start to get out, because at some point the noose is going to close on the Babylonian system here. And you're going to have to either say yes or no. And so that's part of getting the Last Days Remnant equipped. That's what we're trying to do with Raising the Remnant.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And the whole point, and we mentioned this earlier, folks, but the whole point, listen, because I happen to agree with Darrin and Jamie about this information overload, and it can become a narcotic. You can chase it just like you need your next fix. And people get wrapped up in all of this, talking about the latest thing, the newest thing, and they forget one of the most important, if not the most important thing, is your relationship with the Father. Are you walking in obedience to what? And listen, folks, don't think this is some kind of crazy, wacko, charismatic, mystical thing. You should be being led by the Holy Spirit every day. If you're not hearing from the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of God, if He is not directing you every day, if He's not impressing upon you right and wrong choices, things to do, things not to do, something's wrong. Better stop, evaluate where you're at in your faith. Remember, Jesus said, on that day, on the judgment day that's to come, there'll be many that'll come to me and say, Lord, Lord, did we not? And He'll say, depart from me, ye workers of iniquity. Why? For I never knew you. Make sure you know the Father through faith in the Son. That's the most important thing. And so raising up the remnant is designed to do exactly that. It's to get you, cut away all the layers of everything that this culture puts on people and tries to bury people under, and to get you back to the absolute essential spiritual preparedness, practical preparedness, teaching you how to escape this Babylonian system of nonsense that has enslaved people. Darrin, you mentioned Dr. Michael Lake, our mutual friend, is going to be there. He is a dear brother and friend, and I know he's going to bring a fantastic message. He has written a couple of books on this very subject, the Sharia Imperative, the Shinar Directive, on Mystery Babylon and what's coming. And we're seeing some of those things unfold right now. So tell us about some of the other speakers, though, that you're having that are coming in, and what will they be presenting?
Okay, great. Well, yeah, you mentioned Michael Lake's books. Those two books from Michael Lake, if you don't have those, get on Amazon and get the Shinar Directive and the Sharia Imperative right now. Those don't go back on my shelf. Those stay at my desk on their side, so I can grab them. And so Michael Lake is going to be there. Steve Mutria from Torah Family, formerly from 119 Ministries, he's going to be there. He's definitely going to be talking about the spiritual preparedness and prophecy. Tom Stapleton is a very interesting guy too. He's creating a community in Canada right now with like really getting out of the system, but he can also speak to biblical prophecy. So he's a get out of Babylon. He's kind of both. And Braden and Tali Waller are going to be speaking to the teens. They have a great ministry on relationships. Brendan Falks is a guy that's mostly focuses on financial, because if people are going to make some of these decisions, you don't want to get yourself in more trouble. Yeah. Barbara Klicka is from Set Apart Ministries, and she's just going to be talking about community and spiritual preparedness. So, and there's actually going to be some more. We really wanted Zach Bauer, if people follow Zach Bauer in the American Homestead, if that name is at all familiar to your audience, but he had some medical issues happening. We're hoping he can still be there, but he has a homestead, and his message is get out of the city. So if the Father should bless Raising Up the Remnant, we're going to have Zach as a key speaker going forward. But there'll be plenty of next steps to get out of Babylon. And it's at the conference. It bears mentioning that it's going to be at the Trout Lodge. You can see a picture of it there in Potosi, Missouri. That's near St. Louis. So this is going to be incredible. So a lot of conferences, you have to go and you have to provide for your own lodging and your food. So in between, the speakers, you run out and you're driving to go somewhere else. So this is not this. Okay, this is different. If you're interested in those dates, the 26th through the 29th near St. Louis, if you can get there, and what we've said already intrigues you at all, listen to this, because what you're going to do is you're going to reserve your lodging first at the Trout Lodge. Then you get your conference tickets. But I'm going to tell you that it's sitting right on a lake, and I think it might be thousands of acres. I'm not sure, but you can choose between cabins or hotel style lodging, and the food is all included. So if biblically clean is even important to you, because some people there, are celebrating the biblical feasts and not doing traditional holidays anymore. So we have biblically clean food. We are going to be the only group at this facility. So even Sabbath friendly. So we even told the staff, don't even turn our rooms over on Saturday. We're all taking the day off as much as possible. So it's biblically clean food that's included, Sabbath friendly meals for Saturday. And you'll be able to just walk right out of the presentation area and go right down to your room and come right back. And there's lots of fireplaces in there and community places just to sit around at that time of year. Who knows, it'll be snowing like that is on the website there. But it's going to be a great time of fellowship without the stress of having to leave and hurry back. And there's a youth program, Remnant Rising. So the kids will all, there's like 3 different age brackets, so they're not all stuck together bored. They'll all have something to do. You can kind of see right there. There'll be fun activities, but they're going to be in the Word as well. So, I mean, my wife's serious about that. This is not just playtime. So there's going to be a vendor area, so you can meet Michael Lake and Tom Stapleton and Barbara Klicka. You can meet all these people and have them sign books and just relax by the fire. I know you really got me going on this, Mike. Where do you want me to go from here? I'll give it back to you. I'm started.
No, I think it's fantastic, Darrin. Again, the location is
Potosi. That's a strange.
Potosi. Okay, I was going to say Potosi, but I knew that wasn't right. Potosi, Missouri. It's close to St. Louis.
Yes. And if people cannot make it, there's no way you're getting to Missouri that time of year. Live streaming. I think someone just kind of hovered over it there. Yeah. We are going to do live streaming. Excuse me. Excuse me. And so live streaming is right there. You can see under conference, you can see the schedule is already up. And yeah, I think it's going to be a time that we really, if Father blesses this, is that especially for people who are not observing the traditional holidays, that they can get something to look forward to every year at the end of December. We're going to keep this date. If this is blessed and people want to do something where the lodging and the food is all included, and you can look forward to something at that time of year where it's like your thing now and in your new tradition, yeah, come support us and get encouraged. And it's going to be like the memory making of a vacation with the power and encouragement and fellowship of a conference. So we're trying to do something unique, and yeah, we go all out though. So yeah, it should be a great time. So
yep, looks like a fantastic conference, folks. So if you're free to do that, and if not, again, the live streaming, that, you know what, that levels it all, doesn't it? If you can't travel, I mean, maybe you're in Maine and you're snowed in already.
That's
do
right.
Do the live streaming, and they can purchase that right off of the website, Darrin, I believe.
And I think there's a special going on too right now. I think it's in that red floating thing there. There's some accommodation discount going on that people want to take advantage of. But, and also if you have any question whatsoever, you have any trouble, info@raisinguptheremnant.com, just shoot an email there real quick and sign up. Make sure there's at least anybody who's interested in hearing this, sign up for the email subscription or whatever you call that. Subscribe to the email blast so you can get all the latest information. And of course, search Raising Up the Remnant Conference on Facebook so you can see all the posts and specials and things like that. So find us on Facebook, because I'm posting things all the time. You're like pictures of the presentation area and just details about the lodge and getting there. People really want to map this out because I think once you get within 20 minutes of this place, maps get sketchy. So right now, we're preparing people for the apocalypse. There we go. You're going to have to need a printed map so that you can find it in the last bit, because you are in the middle of the woods. You're in the middle right on this lake. We went out there with the live streaming tech guys to do kind of a site look through. And I mean, we just got out of the car and our jaws dropped. This place is stunning. I mean, that's why we decided, because we looked at any venue, to be honest. We could have done hotels. We had our choice, and it was like, this is unique. This is getting out of Babylon for sure. I mean, it's an incredible place just to see. And there's other activities there to do. I know that everybody will be busy with the conference, but we're going to do like an outdoor bonfire thing, and there's night zip lining for the teens, and there's a big list of stuff that the Trout Lodge offers for activities. So check it out.
This is unique, Darrin. I've never been to a conference that offers all of this, and something really for the entire family. It isn't just about adults who happen to bring their kids with them because they want them to be exposed to this information. This is a whole. This is a conference designed for the entire family. It's something specifically aimed at every age group. I applaud you and your bride for doing that. So raisinguptheremnant.com, folks, that's the website, raisinguptheremnant.com. You can register there. You can secure your accommodations. You can join all of these wonderful people that are going to be there December the 26th through the 29th. And if you can't make it, take advantage of the live stream. Darrin, I appreciate you joining me today and talking about this. I appreciate, and we've got some more conversations coming, brother. I do believe that.
Looking forward to it. It sounds like our futures, as we said, are going to be intertwined. We just had a brief conversation before we came on air. We're like, oh boy, this is ramping up. This is go places. So I'm happy for the new friendship, and I really appreciate you having me on, Mike. It's been
Well, thank you very much, Darrin. I appreciate that. Now, if people want to contact you directly, I would just go through the website, or do you have an email you want to give?
Info at raisinguptheremnant.com. Okay. Or Nikki, I think, at raisinguptheremnant.com. There's two different ways. Anyway, you can see it on the website. There's a contact us and get on the subscription. Just add your email to that list, and you can shoot us questions on Facebook too. There's probably like 5 ways to get a hold of us. So
okay, all right, perfect.
We're eager. It's only. Oh, I should mention this. There's only 300 total adult seats in the presentation area, and there's probably only 50 seats left now. Oops, I guess I should mention that. So you really want to do this. You don't want to wait any longer. There's only 50 adult seats left. Children there's not room in the presentation area for children unless they're lap children. We're going to have a special room with a hard wire for mothers with really young children who can see the whole conference from a different room.
Oh, nice.
But there's only 50 adult seats left, so people want you. If you're thinking, "Oh, this sounds good," maybe I'll think about this some more. I wouldn't. I would go and take action right now.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So, folks, and let me say this: Darrin is going to be joining Mike Lake and myself next week on Kingdom War Room. So be looking for that episode. That's going to be a fantastic conversation. It's no doubt going to be more of the same and then some.
That's right. Mike Lake is involved. Who knows how powerful this is going to be? Lightning crackling.
That's exactly right. Amen. Darrin, God bless you, brother. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Mike. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. That's it, guys. See you next time.